Greetings and welcome back everyone. If you like these daily crypto analysis videos, hit the like button and subscribe. Please share these videos with your friends to help the channel grow. I'm Crypto Snake, back again to discuss some Bitcoin analysis. With the entire market calling for Bitcoin to hit 5,800, I'm going to take this video in a little bit of a different direction to expand upon why I don't think we'll actually see 5,800 and also discuss the overall market cycle and some price targets. So let's get started on that. First, I'm going to start by recapping exactly what happened. We did break down aggressively, and if you were paying attention to my previous videos, I did call this out to the letter that we were actually going to break out of this smaller pennant, very likely down aggressively down to this lower target, and I absolutely nailed it there. Dropped from 66.50 around this area all the way down to the 62.50. It actually on BitMEX wicked down to 61.50, which is where I had my price target, and pulled about 120% gains. My VIPs were absolutely ecstatic with that. They pulled between 80 to 120% gains as well. Some of them even more, I believe. So the price struck down on this lower pennant target, slightly through it, and has now actually rebounded within it, depending on which exchange you're looking at. The SAR is still bearish, but the price is also heavily separated from the daily Kijinsen, which indicates a very likely correction back to the daily Kijinsen from this level. So I want to point out some things in this video that actually reinforce my belief that we are not going to see 5,800. In fact, we'll probably see 64.50 or so before we even get down to the 5,800, if at all. So we're going to go ahead and jump over to the CNBC Futures Now Twitter, which is the Twitter for CNBC. They're calling for a drop down to the 5,600 level. Now, just to put this into some perspective, they were also calling a pump to 7,700 from this breakdown, which we went into the opposite direction of and drop back down. So the fact that they're calling for a lower target should be very worrisome if you're in an open short position right now, and I'll get to that more in the rest of the video as well. However, I just want to address this article. CNBC tweets have been a contrarian Bitcoin price indicator with 95% accuracy. If CNBC calls for you to go in a specific direction, you're pretty likely to be in profit by going in the complete and utter opposite direction of where CNBC is going. Now, someone took the time to chart out each individual tweet to the correlating price, and my god, they have way too much time in their hands. But they found that 95% of the time, when they tweeted something bullish, it would break down. When they tweeted something bearish, the price would also go up. So this is just one of the reinforcing factors right now that CNBC is calling for a new lower low down to 5,800. This indicates to me that we are actually going to go up in the opposite direction. And the main focus for today's video is actually the psychology of a market cycle Wall Street cheat sheet that I want to cover. If you've been in this market or the stock market for a while, you probably know about this chart. This is an overlay or explanation of every single bubble pop that's happened in the stock market or in crypto, where a coin bubbles up, goes up, oh, it's euphoric, oh, it's at 20K, we're at 20,000 now. People think that it's going to continue up to 40,000, then it drops, they get complacent. Oh, we just need to cool off before the next rally. This is the new low. They hold here, and then it starts dropping. They get into this whole panic, denial, anxiety, into capitulation, and they close their positions for a major loss. Then the market comes back up a little bit, which we saw in Bitcoin, the massive dump followed by a nice pump and then a slightly longer pump, which correlates exactly with the chart back from July. So this is a chart from July, which marks out a newer low. They predicted a slight pump from here and to start forming some higher lows. But I also want to point out where I think we are in this chart right now. I believe we're actually within the depression to disbelief area, and I'll point out exactly why I believe that. I've turned off some of the technical indicators to clean up the chart a bit, but if we overlay this chart with the previous chart, around July is when we actually saw that uptick and started producing the higher lows. So we were still trending with the market cycle. Now we've continued to build these higher lows as the peaks have also started to diminish and started to form this pennant that I laid out in the previous videos as well. I've seen a lot of people in the market say that the market cycle is actually invalidated because this is now a lower low and the entire market is calling this a lower low. It really depends on which exchange you look at, because there's a gigantic price discrepancy right now between Binance, Coinbase, Bittrex, BitMEX, etc. Between Binance and Coinbase alone, there's about a $100 difference. But there is one thing that I have noticed on all of them, that we have actually struck back into the pennant, which is very bullish. But the question is, have we actually struck a new lower low? If we take a look back in the chart at the previous higher lows, if you consider this entire uptrend here to be one individual pump, then yes, we have struck a new higher low. Now, if we switch over to the Coinbase chart, it does actually appear that we have struck a lower low. Now, if you don't agree with the price discrepancy, that's one thing. However, this individual pump here was not a natural pump, nor was it a natural dump. If you recall, this was the ETF hype pump, followed by the ETF being denied and causing a massive drop. If we discount this pump from the equation of the market cycle, which honestly it really doesn't fit with the market cycle. At the worst, we would have formed an equal low. At best, and optimistic, depending on which chart you look at, we would have actually formed a higher low, which is why I still think the market cycle is in play right now. Before I get on with the rest of my technical analysis and lay out some price targets, if you guys would like to join my free Telegram for insights on the market, including Bitcoin, altcoins, and a sneak peek to my personal entries and exits, join t.me/cryptosnakepit. Links directly to the chat and a link on how to install Telegram, which is a free chat program I use to communicate with my VIPs, in the description below. I've also launched my official Twitter, so follow me at CryptoSnakeVIP to get regular updates. We've also been pulling some savage gains in the VIP this October, and this week alone has been very lucrative on leverage trades and altcoins. I've given out a list of potentially discount altcoins I plan to ride for the bull run to my VIPs, which I think is coming very soon, as well as some hot altcoin swings positions every week. If you want information on how to get into the VIP group to be part of these trades, the information is also in the description below. So as for price targets, where do I see Bitcoin going from here? I'm going to lay out the most likely option and then the possible option. There is a possible chance that we could invalidate everything I laid out in this video and break down to 5,800. I really don't think that's coming. I think more than likely we're going to see it break up to the 6,450 level. Very likely we may actually overextend this and push up maybe to the next resistance at 6,515 or so. And I'll lay out exactly why I think the price range will be above this daily Kijinsen and why a pump up would be that aggressive. Obviously, the first and foremost reason is that we have struck off this lower pennant, so we are very likely to strike back up to the top of the pennant around the 6,500 level, ping-ponging through this area until the bull run and a breakout of this pennant. I want to get onto the smoking gun in the room right now, which is Bitcoin shorts. We're currently overextended on the 4-hour. We had a very slight breakdown for that miniature pump that we've seen, but a breakdown from here is very likely to shoot the price up very rapidly with what's known as a short squeeze. And actually this can be seen a little bit better if we go over to the Ethereum shorts, which I think is going to be a much more lucrative position. Ethereum shorts are now at an all-time high on the 4-hour short chart. On the daily, we are way above all-time high. We are breaking now into the daily RSI overextended range, indicating Ethereum could go for a very massive pump. And I'll go ahead and explain exactly what a short squeeze is. When the market believes that a coin is going in a certain direction, shorts and longs will start stacking on a particular direction, either up or down. And when they start reaching 60% or 55%, etc., it gets in the danger zone of getting a squeeze, which will cause a price increase or decrease in the opposite direction. But what actually causes it? I'm going to go down to the 5-minute chart just to emphasize this. When Ramblin' Gamblin' Jimmy on the BitMEX Trollbox, and I'm sure you've seen these people who start posting their positions about going 100x long, 100x short, when they get liquidated on a small amount of capital, let's say $10,000, but the actual value of their position is $100,000, all of that money comes flooding back into the market, which causes a massive spike increase. So if we see Ethereum jump up $1 for Ramblin' Gamblin' Jimmy being liquidated, guess what happens? The next person up who is also gambling with 100x gets liquidated, and then it causes this kind of chain reaction snowball effect that turns into these gigantic green candles. So when all of these people with their liquidations within $1 of the price range start to get liquidated, all of that money from the exchange starts funneling back in rather quickly, and it compounds and snowballs. Now if we go back to Bitcoin and take a look at the daily chart, that's exactly what happened here. People started calling this a breakout. They started calling it the beginning of the bull run. And if we go down to the 4-hour chart, you can see how quickly this drop occurred. It was basically in one candle, almost 1 hour alone, because somebody overextended their position on a couple $1 million on leverage and was playing way too close to the vest and got liquidated. So that caused the price to drop here, which caused about 30, 40, 50 some odd positions to get liquidated. That drops the price further, and this snowballed us all the way down to the bottom pennant zone. Now I did have a major heads up on this, which I gave out to my VIPs, and I was actually warning you guys video after video that I did see this coming, and I do hope that you took advantage of it and made some savage profit off of it. If you didn't learn from it, you'll make profit next time. But for the moment, I believe we are actually going to go in the opposite direction, and we are actually going to have a nice short squeeze up rather than a long squeeze down. So just to recap my final price targets here, that would be about 6,350 up to possibly 6,422, maybe a little bit higher. Eventually we will see the upper side of this pennant, but that's my target for right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at the market health. The market cap has actually raised very slightly. We've had about $3 billion funneled back into the market, which explains that green candle, which is another reason why I don't think we'll be seeing 5,800, as the money flow back into Bitcoin is very solid right now. The altcoin market also got devastated from this drop. Every single coin was down probably around 8 to 10%, which is about the range where I said they would fall as well. And if you're wondering why this happens, it's because people start liquidating their altcoins to either one, panic and get out of Bitcoin, or to close their altcoin positions and start riding Bitcoin if they see a potential pump. So it's one of those two options. Is either one, they want to liquidate and save their assets back into Tether or back into Bitcoin to ride Bitcoin up. As for some fairly bearish news for the market, Coinbase confirms that it has actually shut down its crypto index fund project. And if you don't know what this is, it's basically an ETF where they required about $250,000 for the fund, and they would diversify your funds across Coinbase's portfolio of Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Ethereum, etc. And some potentially bad news slash good news for the market. The CFTC says that institutional investors will help crypto mature. While I agree with this, it also makes the market less lucrative. We'll see a lot more money flowing into the market, but it's also very likely to stabilize the market and make it less volatile, which if you've been capitalizing on Bitcoin's massive movements and these swings coming up to this point, if we start getting some more regulation and a lot more money flowing in from institutional investors, it's very likely to stabilize the market. We won't have BitMEX or these leverage trading funds being able to move the market this much. So it's both a good thing for the bull run that we will probably see a higher price in Bitcoin, but it also means less volatility for Bitcoin in the long run, which if you're a swing trader is not as good. Just one final thing before I wrap this up. I do believe that Ethereum is going to be more lucrative than Bitcoin. My price targets for this is anywhere from 211 up to 222, possibly even higher. As I laid out, we are actually at the all-time high on Ethereum shorts, and we're coming down to meet the support at 182. So I really don't see this dropping much further, with about 62% of the market betting that it's going to go down. There's guaranteed to be some equilibrium established there and a possible breakup. So that's it for today's technical analysis. If you do make any trades today, I wish you luck. Please join me in my free Telegram at t.me/CryptoSnakeBit, where I give up-to-the-minute updates on Bitcoin and my personal exits and entries for the private VIP group. Also included is our private VIP chat, where you can chat with many of our experienced savage traders, get personal technical analysis from me, and answer any questions you might have. This is Crypto Snake, signing off.